Good evening.
Hello.
I've always wanted to do this. Good evening, Wakefield. How are you doing? Right, I am born and bred from Lupset in Wakefield. I live over in Wigan at the moment. My friend here is from Bolton, but I'm teaching him all the wilds and wherefores of what it's like to live in Yorkshire. With some friends over from the other side at Pennines as well. Nice to see a few people in. Thank you very much for coming, we do appreciate it. We're in a band called Barb Company as well, which is a bit of a socialist sort of folk band. We play the Red Shed quite a lot. But this is a different sort of project. I wanted to write something about the city that I'm from, so I went back to some old poems that I've written and reworked them, and also wrote some new stuff about the legends and the people and the industries of Wakefield. So all the tracks you're going to hear tonight are 2 sets. Self-written, originals, nice cover band shite. And we're going to give you all of it, whether you like it or not. So let's get started.
You say to the end, I will personally shake your hand.
I've been round, shook everybody's hand.
I really enjoy it. It's brilliant. I'm not from Wakefield, but this album that Ian's written with the help of John Kettle from Marielle is absolutely superb. And it's an honour to be here and joining and supporting and doing it. And be back in there. We've done loads of gigs in the Red Shed, so it's great to be back.
Man. Yeah, this first one is the title track off the album. It's the Viking Saxon name for Wakefield, Wachefeld. And this is a song about those early Viking and Anglo-Saxon settlers. Let's start at the beginning in a land of ice and snow, where a brave band of warriors set sail with sword and bow to forge a new life far away and settle in a land where the gods had promised riches for each and every man. We sailed the mighty North Sea, and by the grace of Odin's beard, landed safe in England, where our kinsmen were rightly feared. We travelled across the Northlands and came to rest and plant our roots in the vast expanse of Wachefeld, where the sun men nurtured shoots, where the mighty oak and elm were felled. Our thirst for Anglo-Saxon blood was quelled. On the Ragnarok rock dinner was upheld in the streets and lanes of Wachefeld. In the wapentake of that brig to help us travel and navigate, we built 3 roads around the church, Westgate, Northgate, Gate. We traversed the river Calder and increased our strength and trade, settling the verdant lands our ancestors once did raid, where the mighty oak and elm were felled. Our thirst for Anglo-Saxon blood was quelled. Under Ragnarok rock dinner was upheld in the streets and lanes of Wachefeld. I a proud tall Northman, and my blood is that of Danes, and the grey waters of the Calder flows within my veins. When my time is come and over, and my spirits long to roam, bury my bones in Wachefeld, the place that I call home, where the mighty oak and elm were felled. Our thirst for Anglo-Saxon blood was quelled. Under Ragnarok rock, there was upheld in the streets and lanes of Wachefeld, where the mighty oak and elm were felled. Our thirst for Anglo-Saxon blood was quelled. Under Ragnarok rock, there was upheld in the streets and lanes of Wachefeld. In the streets and lanes of Wachefeld. I know at least one person here will remember the 1970s in Wakefield. My friend over here, Mick, we did a fanzine in Wakefield that if you're from here you might have read, called Lens. We used to cover local bands at the Unity Hall and further afield, and big fans of bands like Bebop Deluxe. And also a friend of ours called Ada Wilson, who was a band called Strange Ways, who were going to be the next big thing locally. And they had some good tunes, but never broke the charts. There's a few of these people mentioned in this next one. I wanted to write a song that sort of gives you the feel of what it was like growing up in Wakefield in the 70s and 80s, and the nights out and the sorts of things we did. So this is pretty much the lyrics on the t-shirt. It's called Merry City Serenade. Behind the market hall, riding the ark, hand in hand lovers strolling through the park, carving their initials deep in the bark on this Merry City Serenade. Old men and teenagers sitting in the jams, Ian and Peter reducing to dance, across the mighty rafters, dance floor expands to the Merry City Serenade. Beneath the canopy of stars, watching dazzling lights from Mars, the girls from Venus, the boys from Mars, waiting and praying neath the bus station clock, on fading your way with each tick and each top. You haven't even been once round the block to the Merry City Serenade. Acolytes the tavern in the prime, strayways indeed, but committing no crime. Escape on the man's just wasting time, another Merry City Serenade. On Cannonball Hill, beneath the canopy of stars, watching dazzling lights from Mars, the girls from Venus, the boys from Mars. A young and soul lovers arose from the dawn, super couple cells of grass in the dawn. The Sally Army soldiers and the Saviour is born on the Merry City Serenade. In the record bar buying Bebop Deluxe, a dog's parked up on feeding the ducks. The red cafe with the flags and the trucks, a Merry City Serenade. On Cannonball Hill, beneath the canopy of stars, watching dazzling lights from Mars, the girls from You'll remember this next one, mate. Sat in the black horse with Armstrong and blues, the hippies and misfits high on the booze. Then round to each jukebox, tune the tunes from the Merry City Serenade. Metalheads and punk rockers answer the call of the up-and-coming bands at the Unity Hall, where our parents and grandparents danced at the ball to the Merry City Serenade. Beneath the canopy of stars, watching dazzling lights from Mars, the girls from Venus, the boys from Mars. The gossamer youth drifts through these streets. Listen carefully and you'll still hear the heartbeats. The colourful place today and yesterday meets for the Merry City Serenade. Place today and yesterday meets for the Merry City Serenade. For the Merry City Serenade. For the Merry City Serenade. All the songwriting and rehearsing I've done in Wigan, and I thought when I played Wakefield I'm going to get emotional. They have. So if you hear the voice going a bit, because a lot of these places around here, the bus station clock, how many people were at the bus station clock waiting for the day? Yeah, everybody.
The buzzers are always there.
By the way, if he says buzz or book, he means bus or book. I've told you there's no Z in bus. But, he's the right side of the pennies now, lad. Learn how to talk right.
They're right.
Right, here's one that some people might know about, some might not. It's a bit of a weird one, this. It's a nursery rhyme that originates in Wakefield, that's all I'm going to say. You'll know it, sing along when it comes up. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. They took a sprig from Hatfield Hall and planted it in Wakefield jail, and mulberry bush grew on the spot, its humble origins forgot. Female prisoners walked at night, cloaked in Yorkshire moonlight. Round and round the tree they went, those sinners who could not repent. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. Before the mulberry tree had died, they took some cuttings to outside, planted them in the Merry City until the children sing the ditty. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. They incantate that nursery song of misdirected lives gone wrong. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. Grow into trees, the plan is to take cuttings from these, plant them back behind the walls, so once again the ghostly calls of prisoners and children who have danced in circles old and new will hold the newborn branches lush once more around the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning. Here we go round the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush, the mulberry bush. Here we go round the mulberry bush on a cold and frosty morning.
Thank you. The education is on.
Jeff said to me, is that story true? I went, no, true. It might be true.
Bit of poetic license.
Poetic license.
I love this next track, and you know the marketplace well. I'm sure you do. Then
the old marketplace. We're pretty much on the site of the old marketplace. We've got Brook Street running along here, which is mentioned in the song. When I left here, and I come back regularly because I watch Wakefield Trinity for my sins. When I come back here, I don't always go into town. I went into town when the old marketplace shut, and all the stalls were still there, but they were just derelict before they cleared the place up. It was just so sad to see it because it used to be a hub and a hive of activities, all marketplaces are, and more places are closing down traditional markets. And it's sad to see. So this was a song I wrote about coming back and seeing that. It's called Marketplace. This place is like a ghost town, trestle tables row on row, echoing with the hustle, bustle, vendors' cries of long ago. I hold my mother's hand and listen to them shout, apple sixpence a pound, come on, get your money out. I went back there when I was home, all that was left were wooden frames, and rotting boards of each seller's plot, the faint letters of stallholders' names. Comics stored in cardboard boxes, toys stacked high on stands, gleaming in the Friday sun, just out of reach of sticky hands. Road of every hue and colour, cotton beef and cuts of ham, fresh cakes filled with layers of cream, jars of marmalade and jam. I went back there when I was home, all that was left were wooden frames, and rotting boards of each seller's plot, the faint letters of stallholders' names. Selling pots of tea, bacon sandwiches for a shilling, all this for just my mum and me. A piece of childhood gone, where every class of soul would meet, to buy and sell and gossip hard, and mustard stalls beside Brook Street. Sometimes it hurts to return to the past, when all that's left is shadow and ghosts. But better times that couldn't last, and the bones of long forgotten hosts. I went back there when I was home, all that was left were wooden frames, and rotting boards of each seller's plot, the faint letters of stallholders' names. I went back there when I was home, all that was left were wooden frames, and rotting boards of each seller's plot, the faint letters of stallholders' names.
Good evening everyone, and thanks for coming in and listening. Just, feel free to listen and hope you enjoy it. As Ian said, my name's Jeff, or I had to go by the poet name of Jefferama, which is a strange name, but that's how you can find me. But my mother was a strange woman, so that. And we've been together in our bard company band for probably about 10 or 12 years now, and played at Chester anyway. But 7 years ago, Ian did an album called Still in the War Boys, and it was to commemorate 100 years since the end of the First World War. And we toured around doing that, playing a bit of guitar, singing the songs. And we actually played in the Information Centre next to Wakefield Cathedral, where we've got a gig in September doing this. And he did a track on that about Passchendaele, where thousands and thousands of men were killed. And this track we're going to do now is about a lady from Wakefield who was also killed. And you might know her. She's called Nellie Spindler, and this is The Weeping Angel.
She passed this way and tended to our pain, soothed our wounds and eased our fears, telling us that we would be home again. Stayed by our beds and whispered in our ears. She was gentle but never weak or frail. Remember Nellie Spindler from Wakefield, the only woman killed at Passchendaele. An angel weeps for her in Flanders Field. Once in her hands I saw pendant and chain, an angel weeping solitary tears. It made me think of the oncoming rain. I would remember that for many years. She sent it to her sister days before. The hospital was shelled and her fate sealed. Her young life ended by this pointless war. An irony that she could not be healed. She was gentle, but never weak or frail. Remember Nellie Spindler from Wakefield, the only woman killed at Passchendaele. An angel weeps for her in Flanders Field. And thought she'll last forevermore. Let history recall the bravery of when one more soul lost their life in needless war. This only woman amongst 10,000 men. She was gentle but never weak or frail. Remember Nellie Spindler from Wakefield, the only woman killed at Passchendaele. An angel weeps for her in Flanders Field. She was gentle but never weak or frail. Remember Nellie Spindler from Wakefield, the only woman killed at Passchendaele. An angel weeps for her in Flanders Field. An angel weeps for her in Flanders field.
Thank you.
This next one I nearly didn't do tonight because I was over watching Wakefield Trinity last night, and at half time I thought, I can't sing this. Are there any Wakefield Trinity fans in?
It's not that
that's better than the whole crowd last season, mate, I'll tell you. Right, well this is a Wakefield Trinity song, but it's not about the current Wakefield Trinity. Anybody else pissed off with Sky Sports and people with money wrecking the bleeding game? I'm not kidding. So this is about the 1960s and 1970s when Wakefield had a side. And it's about going to the match with your dad and mum and dad and brothers and sisters and friends. And those who don't know, Trinity are called, the ancient name for Trinity are the Dreadnoughts. And it was said Dreadnoughts, not Dreadnoughts, Dreadnoughts. So this is called Dreadnought. Sing along. We crossed the Chantry Bridge as the collar boiled beneath, and the drifting chilliness hung heavy on the heath. We came from far and wide, marching all together to gather at Bellevue, despite the dark inclement weather. There were grandfathers and fathers, there were mothers, daughters, sons, hand in hand in heavy coats, as the cold caressed their lungs, and our breath came blowing out into the winter air, where the red, white and blue was being displayed everywhere. Red, white and blue are the colours we support. Remember the battles we have fought, the proud history we have all been taught. This is what it means to be a dreadnought. Feet stomping terracing to ward away the frost, where only last weekend our brave lads narrowly lost. But that's up and behind us now. We live in newfound hope that comes back each Saturday with so little time to mope. The air is filled with strange aromas of winter green and clear, with bottles of silver glass as kick-off time grows near. The crowd noise becomes louder and then turns into a roar as the teams enter the field of play and thus commences war. Red, white and blue are the colours we support. Remember the battles we have fought, the proud history we have all been taught. This is what it means to be a dreadnought. Minutes later, and the league was blooded, with the Bristol kit ripped and torn, and everything sludged and muddy, and we shouted so damn hard that none of us can speak, but we beat local rivals, cats bragging rights all week. Sisters were to run really again now sadly lost to the TV companies and money, and no one counts the cost of the loss to our heritage in local grief parades on a northern field in winter on ice cold Saturdays. Red, white and blue are the colours we support. Remember the battles we have fought, the proud history we have all been taught. This is what it means to be a dreadnought. Red, white and blue are the colours we support. Remember the battles we have fought, the proud history we have all been taught. This is what it means to be a dreadnought. This is what it means to be a dreadnought. This is what it means to be a dreadnought. If there's any Cass fans in, sorry, not about mentioning Cass losing, I'm just sorry that you live in Cass. He said waving his 6 fingers.
I just thought if it was back in the 60s, it wouldn't have been red, white and blue, it would be black and white.
Oh, the red, white and blue, that one, mate. Red, white and blue.
On telly, I mean.
Put under.
Anyway.
We're trying to delay doing the next song because it is a mouthful. A bloody mouthful. The problem with being a poet, because I started off being a poet and then writing songs. So I write the poems and then take them into the studio with the musician who goes, far too many words here. And I go, yeah, but if you don't say all these words, it won't make sense. And he goes, people don't matter about it making sense, they just want to hear the chorus. I go, no. There's a song later on about the Westgate Run. If I miss any pubs out of the Westgate Run, and some smart ass and the break's going to come and go, you didn't mention Black Rock. So you just can't, the words are there, you'd sing the bloody words, make the tune fit the words, mate. That's what I tell him. He ignores me. Anyway, I've got my breath back now. So
it is a right tongue twister, so we're glad when it's over and done with.
A bit of the Irish for you. My dad worked at Albion Mills, MP Stonehouses on Westgate. And it was before the days of take a child to work, apart from wood up chimneys, but it was them, you know, no babysitter, right, taking you into work. He worked in offices, and he took me around the Albion Mills as part of a sort of day out. He had me on adding machine and all. So I went around the mills, and the smell and the noise and the atmosphere just stuck with me. So I wrote this song. It's not a true story, it could be, but it's to bring into the mix the spinning and yarn industry in Wakefield, and they were a worsted spinner at Albion Mills. So this is a maiden tale about spinning Jenny.
Very good parties.
When times were hard, they went to Mills and his daughters out to work, and they all went out diligently, no picking once to shirk. Maria went to hanging backs and helped to bake the bread, while Jenny went to Albion Mills to weave the worsted thread. She worked the young and worsted yarn as swift as skilled as any, and those who knew her said of her that they were spinning Jenny. She worked the young and worsted yarn as swift as skilled as any, and those who knew her said of her that they were spinning Jenny. The spinning room was fierce and hot like hell of some folks head, and Jenny looked all the hours but she had dreams of being wed. Till the handsome boy just down the road, the teacher at the school, she twisted twine and counted time, the bobbin and the spool. She worked the young and worsted yarn as suitors there were many, and those who knew her said of her that they were spinning Jenny. She worked the young and worsted yarn as suitors there were many, and those who knew her said of her they were spinning Jenny. The days are long, the hours hard, amongst the climbing patter, but the kind to catch her breath. The woman would gather and natter. She'd set her sights on greater heights with the Irish foreman dog. We'd seen her when she first went there and offered her the job. She worked the young worsted yarn and earned a pretty penny. And those who knew her said of her, there goes spinning Jenny. She worked the young worsted yarn and earned a pretty penny. And those who knew her said of her, there goes spinning Jenny. The two were locked in Gretna Green and married just for love. She brought her own love to the game as everyone knew she would. She worked the young worsted yarn and moved away to Kilkenny. And those who knew her said of her, there was spinning Jenny. She worked the young worsted yarn and earned a pretty penny. And those who knew her said of her, there was spinning Jenny. She worked the young worsted yarn and earned a pretty penny. And those who knew her said of her, there goes spinning Jenny. And those who waved the pair away said, there goes spinning Jenny. And those who waved the pair away said, there goes spinning Jenny. Big over. Give me an oxygen tank for a minute.
We're testing you on that later on. Oh dear. Does anybody like a good girl story? Yeah, has anybody heard of a woman of Wakefield called Mary Bolles? Oh, you're a bit educated.
When you're putting these things together, I had a list of things I wanted to cover, and one of them was the Blue Lady myth from Heath Old Hall. But I also had on the list Heath Common Fair, which I assume is happening this weekend. It usually happens over Easter. And I'm running out of time, so I'll put the two together. So the myth of the Blue Lady from Heath Old Hall and the Heath Common Fair. What happened if a ghost wanted to attend the fair? That's the basis of this. It's called The Blue Lady, and as Jeff said, if you like a good ghost story, this isn't it.
I love this.
And was buried beneath the soil. But still a spirit walked Heathrow. The story has been writ until conjured down into a hole still called Baller's Pit. The spell was not so powerful to keep her there for long, and soon the tales were told of the sound of a plaintive song. A spectral form drifting with the mist across the heath at night. A strange blue moth being drawn towards the light. She is the chill that comes with the falling of the night. She is the fear of shapes that drift outside the light. She is the sense of danger where the fallen angels lie. She is the glimpse of something from the corner of your eye. For years her apparition had been seen now and again. more from her darkened lair. By the bright lights and the energy that surrounds the Easter fair. She is the chill that comes with each turn of the Ferris wheel. She is the fear in the ghost train, not knowing what is real. She is the sense of danger as the dodgem cars collide. She is the glint of something from the corner of your eye. Smell the popcorn and she cannot shed a tear. She can only draw upon the sense of pleasure and of fear. The ghost of the blue lady is a shadow on the wall. But maybe something dangerous and not be there at all. She is the chill that comes with each turn of the Ferris wheel. She is the fear in the ghost train, not knowing what is real. She is the sense of danger as the dodgem cars collide. She is the glint of something from the corner of your eye. But do not dally when the grifter closes up his garish tent. Do not walk alone to catch the bus, your money all being spent. Your friends all gone, the stall all closed, the battery dead in your phone. But that is when old Mary Ballers will find you all alone. She is the chill that comes with the falling of the night. She is the fear of shapes that drift outside the light. She is the sense of danger where the fallen angels lie. She is the glint of something from the corner of your eye. She's the glint of something from the corner of your eye. Is anybody from Nottingham in? Well, I'll be safe with this one. Right, one of the myths of Wakefield is that Robin Hood came from Wakefield. Supposedly lived out Outward Way and also had a house somewhere around Providence Street here. It is a myth. The guy who is associated with this was called Robert Hood, and he was an outlaw, and this is the ballad of Robert Hood. It's based loosely on a medieval ballad called The Ballad of Georgia Green. And growing up, I lived in a place on Lupsey called Sherwood Grove, and it had Robin Hood Crescent, Little John Crescent, Georgia Green Road. There's others around the city which obviously harks to this myth. So, a bit different this one, don't leave. This is me doing a medieval ballad called The Ballad of Robert Hood. In the year of 1332, after the dispense of war, Robert Hood of Wakefield became a famed outlaw. He'd been an archer for Lancaster who was executed by the king, and had his lance forfeited for daring to fight for him. Now you may know him better by the name of Robin Hood, who some say came from Nottingham, but I would say you should look at the facts from history and consider whence he came. For many local scoundrels were apportioned with that name. The stories say that at the time there lived one Georgia Green, a loyal hinder of Wakefield, a townsman brave and keen, who exclaimed sure one should trespass under his watchful eye upon the lands of Wakefield. Woe betide those who would try. The Hinder's boasts were heard by Robert and his merry men, who for a joke decided to test him there and then. So from the darkened forest they set out on that day, but upon approaching Pinder's Heath they were promptly turned away. A scuffle soon ensued, and Robert's band tasted defeat. The outlaw though was so impressed by the noble Pinder's feat, his physical prowess in battle and his defense of those in need, he offered him a place in his merry band, a worthy prize indeed. So Georgia Green triumphant agreed to let Robert pass, proclaiming he would join him after Michaelmas. Now streets around the merry city honour their heroes true, while the good folk of Nottingham, they have to think anew. Right.
Last track, I think, is that?
Yeah, this one's on the album, so those good people who've already bought the album, this is a freebie for you. Anybody who's seen our company before, you'll have heard it before. Anybody who hasn't bought the album, we'll be selling it in the break. And there's also a book. And there's another album, and another book, another album. Hey, you know, if you want merch, see them then. We're going to have a 15-20 minute break after this, and then come back and do a second set, which is a bit more tempo, so you can sing along. Anyway, this is about the mining community. We have been proud to perform at the with Manazelle High Festival for a couple of times. We're not on this year, but I think it's going to be in here. So a good friend of ours, Joe Solo, is one of the main acts on this stage. You need to see him, fantastic socialist. This story was about the mining communities now, and they were always promised a land fit for heroes. Some went away to fight in the war, some stayed and worked down the mine. Irrespective of that, they're still waiting for that land. So this is probably the only slightly political one that we do. Normally we're rampant red socialists. So we're holding ourselves back tonight. This is called Raising the Standards with Banners Held High.
For heroes, a place to go home and they chalk with pride. Somewhere along the way you forgot the reasons they fought and the reasons they died. They thought they were fighting for honour and justice, suppressing the tyrants, saving our land. Return to a country that punished the workers for banding together and making a stand. So the songs are all villages to heroically fallen. Your words all platitudes for loss of life. Your actions speak louder than all of your promises. Lies are pandemic, betrayals are right. It's a guide in the trenches with promises hollow, driving them forward and ringing in ears. One pocket of money that should have been spent making jobs for survivors and easing their fears. Now we march all together and sing for the future of all those who we lost in the past. We still want to believe all the promises made as the young men were slaughtered. We spent and gas, prosperity offered like chocolate at Christmas. Peace in our times, everlasting hope. All that they got were more broken dreams, all pointless wars, more money for all road. The bosses got fat on the toil of the workers, the bankers got fat on their interest-rich loans. The man who came back with a war that he fought in was treated no better than the graveyard of bones. So bang the drum, comrade, and never forget, if silence is demanded, shout and be loud, and don't let this government try to sell history as though it is something for which we should be proud. A century has passed and they've destroyed the mines. They gouged the steel furnaces, grounded the docks, left northern communities suffering and reeling in the self-proclaimed privatised school of hard knocks. There's still poor people living in poverty, food banks of rebel and folk on the streets. They cannot look after the homeless and feeble. The old cannot pay for their lighting and heat. From the mud of the trenches, they came back home. The future is grey as the clothes on their back. They demand that we give them something to cling to, a future of light in the visions of black. England's green fields, the red of the blood, the gold we were promised, the blue of the sky. These are the colours we raise as our standard, marching together with banners held high. England's green fields, the red of the blood, the gold we were promised, the blue of the sky. These are the colours we raise as our standard, marching together with banners held high. Cheers.
Thank you. We'll be back in 1 hour. We've had some oxygen.
15 minutes early, yes, thanks everyone. Feel free to get a drink and we'll enjoy the second half. Thank you very much.
Great. We threatened we'd be back, and we're back.
Thanks for sticking around and thanks for your nice comments. Glad you enjoyed the first half.
Yeah, it's been nice chatting to you all as well. One of the things I wanted to do with this was try and interact, because I've got a second volume in me, but I haven't quite got the subject. So if anybody's got any subjects about Wakefield you think we should cover, not now because we might be covering it in second set, but if you know and you think, oh, you should do that, let us know, because there's definitely a second volume ready. This first one I'm going to start with. He's not here, so I can say it, but some of you do know him. I've got a mate called Phil Salisbury, who lives over in Spain now, and I wrote this as a poem, and I wanted to do it as a song. It's just a myth I've made up about, you know, anybody, when you've done the Westgate run and you're walking up and down Westgate and there's a beck on the side of the Westgate. I used to work at MDC, a shop down there as a Saturday lad, and it used to flood now and again. And I used to think, you know, if you were around and got in that flood and went in there, you'd have a job on getting out, because it was full of all sorts of crap. And doing Westgate Run, walking up and down Westgate, I used to walk home to Lupsit. And quite often I used to sit on the wall looking into the beck, thinking, if I fell off here, nobody would know what had happened to me. So I wrote something about that. I sort of tied in this alcoholism myth. Nothing wrong with alcohol. Jolly boys, buy as much as you can at Jolly Boys. No wrong with alcohol. But I thought I might be turning into an alcoholic at the time. So I wrote this song and I shared it on a private group on Facebook. And Phil Salisbury came back to me and said, "Remember Barrett?" I don't know how many of you know him. I said, "Yeah." He said, "He once fell in Beck." I went, "Honestly?" He went, "Yeah." He said, they didn't know he was there, he had hypothermia, and eventually the police pulled him out. It must be in the winter. Then again, it's Wakefield, it could have been summer. The police pulled him out, and in Wakefield Express it said, they asked the police officers, "What do you think he was doing in the Beck?" And the police officer said, "He was probably admiring the view." So I didn't know this when I wrote this, so if it gets out, they'll think I've written it about him, and I haven't. So if it gets out, tell him it wasn't about him, but it's a good anecdote. This is a myth story that I've written that sort of ties alcoholism into what happens around the Beck. It's called The Beast Beneath the Beck.
Its end is full of reeds, its water is a muddy shade of brown. Confused ducks die within anemic weeds, a sunken shopping trolley's pulling down. Sometimes you hear a cold slithering splash, as though some ancient structure is slithering to feast upon the centuries of trash. Who knows what evils are contained within? It waits for drunken sops, no one will miss, staggering from the redoubt to the rock. It lures with an intoxicating kiss. But leaves them in a state of wide-eyed shock. The beast beneath the Beck is quick to greet, and keeps all very drunkards off the street. The best of the state end is dark and dank. I contemplated sitting on this wall. Its stinking vegetation thick and rank, floats on the surface prone to cover all. A body would be lost beneath that sheet, stored for later consumption in a threat, allowed for the beast of rotting meat, and gnawing on the bones till nothing's left. I stagger home to sanity and bed where dreams will haunt me as I try to sleep. A scaly goon crawling through my head, dragging me down to the water's deep. The beast beneath the Beck is swift to kill, but lingers along to my nightmare still. These things are nothing but a tale, conjured by alcohol's bitter excess, a construct of the spirits and the air, of which I drink plenty, I confess. It whispers softly though its words are fake, telling me of the pleasure and the pain, and just one kiss is all that it would take to fall into its loving arms again. But still the nightmares come and haunt my dreams. I seem to know its face and it knows mine, the plaintive clamour of 1,000 screams. The crawling of the shiver down my spine, the beast beneath the Beck still lies in wait, each time I drag my feet along Westgate. It waits for drunken sots, no one will miss, staggering from the redoubt to the rock. It lures with an intoxicating kiss, and leaves them in a state of wide-eyed shock. The beast beneath the Beck is quick to greet, and keeps on wearing drunkards off the street.
This is another one that's got a lot of words in it. We're going to be playing the Cathedral on the 6th of September, which is obviously a massive gig for us. And this one is really about that. It's the story of when Wakefield became a city, and it's a story of the congregation through time. So it's a sort of portal into time about all the types of people who've gone there. Don't cover them all. It mainly covers the ones I could find a rhyme with. So this is called Citizens.
The butchers, the clerics, the priests and the reeves, the plougher of fields and the sower of saints, the banker, the scoundrel, the thieves, the farmers, the tailors, the shopkeepers, the woman who sits over weaves, godless, hypocrite sinners, the bishop who prays and believes. The innkeepers, drunks and abstainers, mill workers, miners, shipmates, the poets, musicians and singers, from grand manors and council estates, from the brigands, the Vikings, the Saxons, come the heroes of Bill and the Great, and the good of this old Abbey city, by Northgate, Kirkgate, Westgate. Teachers, the healers, the prophets, explorers, inventors, camp folk, labourers, workers, rich men and poor, survivors of the Norman yoke, the nurses, the doctors, the chemists, the carers of those who were broke, those who toil by day or by night, the gatherers of coal and coke. Will sing of these people, concealed behind the veil, but displaced by the banks of the Calder, where every one of us hails. From the church on the salt in the heavens, to the nursery round from the jail, where the pretend and white those kings beheaded retell our progress tales. The call of the workers, the cathedral walls they appealed, the red soldiers fighting for freedom, and returning with one side healed. The indigenous and the immigrants, local origins are far afield, but settled in peace in this place we call home, proud citizens all of Wakefield. July 11, 1888, a change for the merchants and denizens, from humble parish church to cathedral, crowded noble townsfolk to citizens.
Please, on social media, correct anybody that says Wakefield is a town. Wakefield is a city.
Ooh. It does get excited.
Oh, I do. Especially with Lancashire folk. In fact, I've decided to change the words of one of the songs later on. Oh, you'll spot it. I don't usually say the word bastard. This is another one I'm going to have to struggle with because it's about my dad and my mum. And I wanted to put something personal in because we lived on Lupsit, we were working class, council house, and despite what people say, you can have a fantastic childhood and a life on a council estate living with what people call poverty. And there's a song later on about it as well. Mum and Dad are both dead now. I wanted to write this song that sort of says, I'm sort of reaching the age where you see that brightness that they lost starting to slip away. So it's a difficult one to sing, so bear with me if I crack up on it.
It's called How Did It Get So Late So Soon? The man who scared the ghosts away, the woman who healed wounds with a kiss. I think of them all nowadays, in sad and troubled times like this, no longer there to hug the pain from tired bones and broken hearts, to shield you from the winter rain that permeates where old age starts. Another day of fleeting tasks, from rising sun to waning moon. The stranger in the mirror asks, how did it get so late so soon? The back garden is overgrown, the kitchen is a darker place. These memories are hard to own, the mirror is so hard to face, where glimpses of them both reside, then haunt you as you reach the day that saw the turning of the tide, and saw the brightness slip away. Another day of fleeting tasks, from rising sun to waning moon. The stranger in the mirror asks, how did it get so late so soon? The falling star, we tried to stop the ticking clock, but in the end it's all we are, a sliver chipped from the old block. The man who scared the ghosts away, the woman who healed wounds with a kiss. They knew each dog must have its day, no longer there to tell you this. Another day of fleeting tasks, from rising sun to waning moon. The stranger in the mirror asks, how did it get so late so soon? The stranger in the mirror asks, how did it get so late so soon? That's for Kenneth and Ivy Doreen Wiley. And if I'd have told in 2025 I'm going to be singing songs outside Wakefield bus station, my mum would have been proud and my dad would have said, aye, that's where there's going.
Right, from one extreme to another here.
Who's on the Westgate Run?
A nice ballad to
Are there other people in here? Yeah, the Westgate Run. This is one of them where, when I wrote it, the musician who writes the songs with me said, too many words in that Ian, it's too long. And I said, I can't leave stuff out. It's a story about the pubs on the Westgate Run. If I miss something out, there'll be somebody who's done the Westgate Run and said, you've not got Black Rock, lad.
So he said, all right, you know, put in what you want to put in. Then he went and put a solo in it. No, he didn't. So this is about the Westgate Run. We used to do it on a Friday and a Saturday night, and it used to be fantastic. We used to meet so many people. This is when Wakefield were a real good drinking city. And we never got farther than the Black Horse, but by then you've had about 10 pints and you're falling over legless. So we'd love to have gone to the top. Sometimes we did it the other way around and then stopped at the Black Horse again, because Black Horse were great. So basically, this is a list of pubs. And you can probably work out roughly when this were written, because it's a while ago, by which pubs I do mention and which I don't. And some of these pubs have probably gone now. I've not done the Westgate Run for quite a long time. So basically, here's a list of pubs for you. See if it brings back any memories.
It were probably about 2 and 6 a pint when he was there.
Oh, easy. Paid it out of my pocket money. The Westgate Run rerun.
Get around and show. Upon the merry city's oldest street, when twilight creeps across the Yorkshire sky, traditionally friends and strangers meet, and let the velvet darkness pass them by, in pictures from a dim and distant past, as grass white spill from heavy shadowed doors, to neon tinted bars of Friday last. The sound of liquid laughter gently pours, this rite of passage passed from old to young, across the years zigzagging across the street. This rousing song will be forever sung, wherever honest folk of Wakefield meet. It's not the winning but the taking part that drives us up that hill on Saturday, with friends on new and you are over somewhere, a Sabbath morning billing price to pay. Perhaps this pilgrim's way holds no surprise to those who visit here upon a chance, but living all my life beneath these skies, I hear the music soft beneath the dance. A century or more of stumbling feet have traced this path from St. Nick's to the Rock. Good spirits open wide the doors to greet the revellers of Wakefield when they knock. At 7 sharp meeting the redoubt, its crooked rooms are full of shining talk. Then on to face our Waterloo and Scout, as black as coal to help us on our walk. The White House left with sawdust goes afoot, stiff wooden chairs that creak like age-old men. The chimney spills authentic ancient soot that trails away in books that way back when. The wagon and horses tempts us with its lights, the Smith sounds draws us to a blazing fire that warms us from the hearth on winter nights, until we're leave to climb towards the spire. The swan with two-neck change it one more time, its same last window staring at the mill, forever etched against the sky in grime. For long on you can see its outline still. Henry booms his nets with straw thatched bar, where trendy student ambulance abounds. The walls are permeated with the tar, a funky, grungy, rocky, poppy sounds. Under the railway bridge across the road, the red-ribbed elephant and castle looms, a place where time is permanently slowed, and and memories of cobwebbed in the rooms. The black horse next our gallant races run, weary body drum and slur the screech. The white horse, black swan tavern and black rock, so close to touch yet so far out of reach. The call is this far and no further, boys. We race the beer once more, the beer has won. No proud winners, only gallant losers. Reach the finish line on the Westway run. The Rax's pilgrims way holds no surprise to those who visit here upon a chance of living all my life beneath these skies. I hear the music soft beneath the dance, a century or more of stumbling feet have traced this path from Sedgwick to the rock. Good spirits open wide the doors to greet the revellers of Wakefield when they knock. The revellers of Wakefield when they knock. The revellers of Wakefield when they knock.
What year do you remember you had pubs? Well, it's obviously before the Smith's Arms closed, so I don't know when that was, but I would guess that was probably mid-90s maybe. 97? Hey, there's some expert here. He looks lost, doesn't he? He ain't got West England to do anymore, it sounded it. I remember them all. All sat in bar. You see, the old Globe were closed before 97. Come on. You see, you weren't listening. I thought you'd be some smart ass about it, isn't it? Oh God, here we go. Let's have 10 minutes. Anybody else?
We'll be back next year with the 24-minute remix.
From the top back. Right, I don't like this one. I think it's because it sounds a bit 90s, 50s bloody. What did you say it sounded like?
Lonnie
Donegan. Get your Wachefeld out. This is called.
Who likes rhubarb? You should do, right?
Oh, rhubarb.
I can't stand the stuff. Bloody awful.
Have you got anyone said that when we played Rhubarb Festival? Right, rhubarb.
You ever been battered with a stick of rhubarb?
Oh, I don't know. That sounds nice.
You will, Mrs.
Rhubarb. When I was very young, it wasn't very hard. You could find rhubarb in every backyard. A ruby red treasure growing from the ground, worth its weight in gold and so easily found. My mother would cook it and put it in a pie, but its very best use, and I tell no lie, was to dig it up and treat it like grapes upon the vine, by turning it by magic into rhubarb wine. Well, you can eat it, you can spread it, you can put it in a pan, and it works on the gut far better than bran. And if you're feeling down, you can even get pissed. It's great being a rhubarb triangulist. I'll explain rhubarb triangulist. Now they're sitting in a shed, listening to it grow. Horse rhubarb for the annual show. Creaking like an old man with arthritic bones. They even say it works on your erogenous zones. Grows an inch a day, susceptible to light. The thickest full of stalks by candlelight.
If you get a chance, you really should wrangle, spending some time in the rhubarb triangle. I'm not proud of that rhyme. Well, you can eat it, you can spread it, you can put it in a pan, and it works on the go far better than bran. And if you're feeling down, you can even get pissed. It's red, green and rhubarb triangulus. Jams and chutneys sitting at the tree, in the rusty back garden beneath the old oak tree. There really was nothing that tasted so great as eating raw with sugar on an old chip plate. My dad used to say it puts hairs on your chest, so me and my brother put his theory to the test. We've both grown up big and healthy and strong, and my nickname at school was Junior King Kong. So you can eat it, you can spread it, you can put it in a pan, and it works on the go far better than bran. And if you're feeling down, you can even get pissed. It's great being a rhubarb triangulus. Yes, you can eat it, you can spread it, you can put it in a pan, and it works on the go far better than bran. And if you're feeling down, you can even get pissed. It's great being a rhubarb triangulus. Yes, it's great being a rhubarb triangulus. Mama!
True story, the woman behind the picture of a witch, you know the song, and she used to make rhubarb wine, and she used to give it to my mum, who was teetotal, so my dad was teetotal, and she used to store it in the pantry. So me and our kid, who were about 13, 14, knew this, so we'd go in and we'd drink it and put water back in. So it looked like piss, to be honest. We were getting lighter and lighter, and anyway, my mum was having a really bad day. And we came home and she was really flaked out all over the place. I've been drinking that rhubarb wine, it's so strong. Me and I looked at each other and said, that is about 0.01% now. Well, it isn't strong, but we don't tell her. Right. Another one of them medieval ballads. I wish I had a lute. I wish I had some lute, but I wish I had a lute.
Just for that.
I've got a jest for that. It's another one of them. This is another not true story. This is a story that has become, what's the word? People say it came from Wakefield, I'm not so sure. I'm not even so sure it's about this particular Richard. But it's about the nursery rhyme, the Grand Old Duke of York, which some say is about the Battle of the Roses and the Battle of Wakefield. So here is a medieval ballad that tells the story of the Grand Old Duke of York. And again, you will know the words, sing along when we get to that bit. It's called The White Rose Pretender. It was the 30th of December and the snow lay on the ground around the Yorkie stronghold on Sandal Castle's mound, when Richard Duke of York was awoken by his hound. They fall Lancastrian bastards wherever it could be found. Should be blood. The Red Rose Army at Pontefract Castle been pillaging Richard's estates, so he had marched north to Wakefield to secure the White Rose gates. But the numbers he brought were far too few, and his actions were tempting the fates. The reinforcements he needed were sure to be arriving too late.
Trails and blunders were rife as they advanced over Wakefield Green. The Plantagenet forces were encircled from the woods and shrubberies between the Calder and many gate lane, where the Yorkists had been seen, foraging for provisions which over the winter months had been mean. John Anderson needed. And wandered to the near for willows trees he was killed. Thousands more died on that day, politics marking where blood was spilled. But the dreams of boy in York would be forever unfulfilled. His head was taken over to York and his voice was forever still, obviously. So the song was sung in his name, the grand old Duke of York. And he marched them up to the top of the hill. He marched them down again. But when they were is lost in the passing of time, the word of mission and pain, and nursery rhyme for the children, and now that is all that remains. And now that is all that remains.
Right, again, if you've got the album, you won't have heard this one on the album, but and even with Bar Pump, you might not have heard this one. I wrote this ages ago. I wrote it about my dad. My dad was a sergeant major in the British Army. He fought in Burma and the Far East and places like that. And to be honest, as a dad he was great, he was a right bastard. Stand by your heads, inspection! So he was as hard as nails, but you know, he was just a great dad. And we found out that he'd brought a bayonet home from his campaign, and he'd hidden it in the shed in a rag. And he'd never show this bayonet. And he hid his medals as well. He got the Burma Star and stuff like that. Boxed up, pristine, on top of the bayonet in the shed, in a greasy rag. So being kids, we pestered him to sort of tell us the stories about this bayonet. And eventually he did. And this is a story of my dad and the bayonet in the shed.
Man has today surrendered. The last of our enemies is laid low. Here at home, you have a short rest from the unceasing exertions which you have all borne without flinching or complaint for so many dark years. But also, think of this time especially of the prisoners in Japanese hands, of our friends in the dominions of Australia and New Zealand, in India, in Burma, and in those colonial territories from the front of the Japanese fell.
He put it there in 49 with a one draw, wrapped it in a greasy rag, a remnant from the war. On top of it he laid his medals, nothing more was said, until the day my father took the bayonet from the shed. We had pestered many times, and he had said perhaps, when we asked him if he'd killed any crowds or any Japs, his eyes fixed on something far away, as though searching for the dead. But we found out what we wanted when he took the bayonet from the shed. He was a sergeant major in the hell that was Burma. when the Japanese snipers would target you on a murder. He was proud of the campaign and the boys that he had led, but he never ever talked about the bayonets in the shed. He didn't hate all foreigners, and he said the bravest worker that he had ever met in the war was good old Johnny Gurker. But being brave wasn't about killing, he was happy when they fled. Then he went down the garden and took the bayonet from the shed.
Peace has once again come to the world. Let us thank God for His great deliverance and His mercies. Long live the King.
He was gone a short while, and when we saw him coming back, he was no longer marching along a hero's track. We witnessed the aged warrior, we turned with heavy tread, shoulder slumped in surrender with the bayonet from the shed. He moved the cloth, reverently laid the medals by its side, and for the first time in my life we watched as my father cried. We sat with him, looked at it, thought of Bobby's bit of bread, after being introduced to the bayonet in the shed.
Yeah, when I went to art school and write poetry and stuff like that, my mum would, you know, frame the pictures and keep the poems, and my dad would look at this person in front of him in loons and a long Afghan coat and long hair and a moustache and an headband, and he probably shook his head and thought, what the hell did I go fighting for?
I'm sure many did.
But it gave me the chance to sing a song about him. So I think he'd have been proud. Yeah. And the ex-miners. The ex-miners in. He's a drunk, he's an ex-miner, he knows about Pontefract. God, got really expert in here. Right, this is my song about mining. A lot of my mates at school went down the mines. It was one of the few occupations, if you didn't get the passes at O level, that take you on. And it's hard. A lot of them didn't come out of the mines. Some did and were crippled by it. And this is really just summing all those things up. And it's called Down in the Hole. My father said it was this life or the dole. So sacrifice ambition, heart and soul. If our family was to earn a crust, then I would have to work until I was bust. Years of hardship finally took its toll. I had danced to the tune of old King Cole, and I was laid off, let into the light, a blessing to escape eternal night. I was 16, they threw me down the hole in the new black empire of worm and mold. I stood in darkness, breathing in the dust, an environment of
as old and corrosive as rust. Forever stained in black and bent of spine from the nightmare recesses of the mind. I bury my head low and try to hide, and remember those who lived and those who died. Newmarket Park Hill, Locked House, Cross Lane, I will never go through there again. From the pits of my memories there comes a chill draft. I left my footprints in abandoned shafts. I was 16, they threw me down the hole in the new black empire of worm and mold. I stood in darkness, breathing in the dust, an environment as old and corrosive as rust. That stuff's in my blood and in my bone. The pit heads now are gone or overgrown. Just like my friends, most of these pits are lost. Just memories and ghosts to count the cost. I was 16, they threw me down the hole in the new black empire of worm and mold. I stood in darkness, breathing in the dust, an environment as old and corrosive as rust. I was 16, they threw me down the hole in the new black empire of worm and mold. I stood in darkness, breathing in the dust, an environment as old and corrosive as rust. As old and corrosive as rust. Thank you. We've got a couple of songs to do. I really wanted to call out the guy who's co-written these songs with me. Jeff's done a fantastic job on backing vocals, so please give a round. The guy who can't do with it is the guy who plays all the instrumentation on it and writes the music. He's in a band called Merry Hell. Write that down and look it up when you
Check them out.
Fantastic band called Merry Hell from Wigan. He used to be the lead guitarist in a Wigan band called the Tansats, who were quite well known. Maybe not over here, but they were one of the bright new things of the when Oasis and Blur and all them bands were kicking around. He writes, he can write anything he asks him to write, basically. I wanted to write, I'm a glam rock fan. I won't like the same glam rock bands. I suspect Slade fans are in the house. I'm a Sweet fan. So I wanted to do a glam rock song on an album about Wakefield. Can you believe it? It's not Sweet because there's no wrists in it.
But it is quite glammy, a bit Rolling Stones-ish. As I say, we're doing the Licorice Roots Festival, not this year but next year in July, so it's quite a way off. We're also playing the Red Shed on the 14th of June, and in the afternoon we're playing the Wheel Fest in Pontefract in the afternoon, if you want to see or hear any of this again. And as I said, on the 6th of September we're doing the Cathedral. So, back to this one. This is called Layla Licorice. It's about the true story about how licorice was introduced into the country through Pontefract.
Well, the Black Road Friars grew the sweet rulers St Richard's and St John's in Pontefract, and the local folk called the Black Gold Spanish after travelling monks who brought it back. It was used as a medicine to cure a wide range of ailments of the gut and of the lungs, and the only side effect of treating the disease was the colour of the lips and the colour of the tongues. Welcome the kiss of Layla Licorice, smooth as fine silk and dark as pitch. The ruby red swish of a cherry whip, the kiss of night from the Pontefract witch. We love you, Lady Licorice. Soon the roots spread from the cloisters to the fields, available to all who could cultivate. From the bluebell steps to the buttered cross, the shrub line south gate and Nickel Gate. Planted in the keep of Pontefract Castle, sugar arrived and sold what was it for? Stamped with an image of the fortress where it stood, the mighty Pontefract cave was for. Welcome the kiss of Layla Licorice, smooth as fine silk and dark as pitch. The ruby red swish of a cherry whip, the kiss of night from the Pontefract witch. We love you, Lady Licorice. And he's got in the switch shops of my childhood, it sat in glass jars, a penny in your hand and no big ride. Torpedoes, confits and shirt fountains, the sweet wooden root of surprise. Here comes the cat lady of the 5 towns, from medicinal cure to childhood treat. An adult pleasure to welcome you back, a kiss on her black lips so sweet. Welcome the kiss of Layla Licorice, smooth as fine silk and dark as pitch. The ruby red swish of a cherry whip, the kiss of night from the Pontefract witch. We love you. Welcome the kiss of Layla Licorice, smooth as fine silk and dark as pitch. The ruby red swish of a cherry whip, the kiss of night from the Pontefract witch. We love you, Lady Licorice. Lady Licorice. The Lady Licorice. The Lady Licorice.
Jeff Golden said, you know, we call it Spanish and I had no idea why. Well, now you know. Education.
Monks brought it up. Spanish monks, I never knew that.
Along with paella. That bit's not true.
know that sales of licorice will rocket tomorrow afternoon.
I'm hoping Barrett's going to me and give me some bloody freebies. Bassett's not bad. It's our last one.
Last track, so many thanks for you all coming out tonight. We're a great crowd and playing in this wonderful venue. It's absolutely amazing. And I just want to thank Anthony and his team, Jack for doing the sound, everyone who's done the bar, Martin for recording this on film for us, and everybody who has travelled from near, far and wide to come and support us. Give yourself a round of applause, thank you. Means a lot.
We honestly thought we'd have 2 people and a dog in, so there's a few dogs in, but steady, that turn. Anyway, not like slagging your audience off just when you're going to try and sell a CD. So anyway, we've got a book and a CD with these songs on it. There's no escape, because if you've got this one, and the book and the CD, we've got another book and a CD from the previous album, which is quite unusual album, where all the tales of a wicked scarecrow, but it's quite adult, so dark gothic. Think Lord of the Rings meets Al Pacino, something like that.
If you've enjoyed what we've done, you can find us on Facebook and all the usual places. This album and Bad Company stuff is on the Crows of Albion Bandcamp site, and there's Facebook pages for Bad Company.
And you don't have to, but it'd be great if you've enjoyed it, post something. Because, trying to sell a gig in Wakefield, about Wakefield, and places like the Wakefield Expression, Wakefield History Association, and people like that don't want to know. They just don't want to know. So how do you get the word out? So if you've enjoyed it, post something on our Facebook page and say what it was about. And if you haven't enjoyed it, fucking don't.
Well, we appreciate you and the venue here for asking us to come and play. It's been fantastic.
It has. And I'm hoping we can come back and play again, because we've really enjoyed it. It's a cracking sound up here, and it's a cracking venue, so fingers crossed, hopefully we can do it again. We're going to finish with a song that I wrote a long time ago on the previous album, and I put it on this album as a bonus track really, because it's when it all started for me, which is Lovesick. And quite a while ago I wanted to write, I mentioned it earlier, I wanted to write a song that said, living on a council estate, and particularly places like Lovesick and Eastmoor that get a bad rep. People think, it must have been great up north, and it's not. We had a fantastic time growing up. Went to English Martyr's School, Thomas a Beckett's, Thorne's House, and I wouldn't change a single thing if I could. It was just fantastic. So I wanted to write a song that sort of celebrated those times really. I would be 9 when this song is set, and it's about the sort of stuff you used to get up to on Luxie Estate.
Did you get expelled that year?
I did, not in the kid car, like wheels and stuff like that, none of that. Stuff in your back garden, just family. That's what this is about. So I wanted to finish with this really. And because it's set in 69, I wanted a bit of a Kinks type feel to it. And John obliged. John Kettle obliged. So, this is called Sunset Over Luxie, August 1968. Thanks for listening.
Sunset smell the bonfires undercut with new-mown grass, wilding by the kitchen window, treasures in the strawberry patch. Father sat with pint of shandy, the molecule in the shade, the wreck stove by the garden shed, the kitchen sparkling lemonade. Sunset overlooks it, August 1968. Sunset overlooks it, things never felt so great. Summer sun dips on the estate, dragging shadows from the co-op, but on the building you live there. The body slept and soothes the soul. Sounds of mother in the kitchen, putting salad onto our plates. Ham and cheese and egg and lettuce, simple with very figure-eights. Sunset overlooks it, August 1968. Sunset overlooks it, things never felt so great. The summer sun is at its height, the doors and windows open wide, to let the air move through the house, where sleeping bodies will be bright. Psychedelic guitar, a memory of summers past, before the world stole all our dreams. The simple things dealt us pleasure, got council clock and lungs ice creams. Family sitting in backyards, talking together, having fun. The back to an August week, when extra paid and work was done. Sunset overlooks it, August 1968. Sunset overlooks it, things never felt so great. Sunset overlooks it, August 1968. Sunset overlooks it, things never felt so great. Sunset overlooks it, sunset overlooks it, sunset overlooks it, things never felt so great. Thanks for listening. Big round of applause for Jeff. My name's Ian Whiteley, Coco's of Albion. If you want to see the other book, see you at the table, Scotland.
Thanks everyone, take care, cheers.